When you're from Middleburg, we have to talk about the differences. We have to talk about the differences between the white and the colored. My name is Betty Nelson. I was born and raised here in Middleburg, just a very short distance from where we're taking the interview. And I am a mother, I'm a wife, I'm an auntie. My dad was a groom, and the woman that he worked for, Dorothy Lee, she owned stables. And my dad came here from Thoroughfare. My dad's family home is in Thoroughfare, Virginia, which is just a couple of miles from here. As far as I know, he came here as a worker, my dad. And of course, my mom came with him. We used to live in a house that is now where the Middleburg Bank is. And that burned down. And I can remember we went to live with another family on another farm. When you're from Middleburg, we have to talk about the differences. We have to talk about the differences between the white and the colored. When I was coming up, it was two classes. It was the rich and it was the poor. And from the rich standpoint, everybody that wasn't rich was poor. Now, in that, there were subcultures. There were subcultures of blacks, for instance. There would be the blacks that lived on the east end of town, which was the better, quote unquote, blacks. I lived on the west end of town in Windy Hill, Virginia. Windy Hill was an area of town that was looked down on. It was considered the slums of Middleburg, and it must have been over a dozen families living in more than that maybe, because most of the blacks in Middleburg lived on Windy Hill. Windy Hill was known for drinking, gambling, domestic violence. This is what I was brought up in. I was brought up in Windy Hill with all this surrounding me. And I think it was motivating to me to be in that situation because it motivated me to not be that way. Asbury was probably some of the best memories that I have about Middleburg as a whole. I was baptized there. I sang in the choir with Phyllis's aunt playing the piano. I went to Sunday school. I taught Sunday school there. I particularly loved the dressings on the altar. When they would dress the altar for special occasions, on Easter and on Christmas, they decorated so pretty. I enjoyed being a part of the community there. I also found a family there. In those days, when you went to church, it was your church family, and you felt like you were part of that family. There was a very important aspect of the church to be part of the church family. And one of the things that I think about Asbury is that it brought me from Windy Hill to the west end of town, and I found a different way I felt a different way. I felt differently when I was in the church. I felt wanted, and I felt needed because I was teaching Sunday school and I was singing in the choir. That made me feel like I was needed in the church too. We would go to an outing, I remember, in Frederick, Maryland, because they had a swimming pool, and they would take us out there to the swimming pool once or sometimes twice a year during the summer. Now that was exciting, and that was different. That was getting out of town, which I was not used to. That was being with your church family, which meant a lot to me because I had a church family. Getting out to the picnics were fun. You know, we always had fried chicken. We always had boxes of fried chicken and potato salad and rolls and just all the stuff that you can think of. Homemade cakes, and I remember those. Those were good memories. Now, we also took outings to other churches. We never went to a white church. We always went to black churches. It makes me feel proud that I was a part of it. It makes me feel like I did do, or I was part of what was going on in the church. I guess I have to say again about the family. I felt Asbury was my family.